Hello everybody. Today we're going to answer the question, how can rocks be classified? You're going to follow along the video and take notes with your textbook and the handout that you've been given. To start, turn to page 136 in your science textbook, where we're going to read about igneous rock. To start with, just what is a rock? Rock is a solid in nature that is made of one or more minerals. That's important to remember. Remember, minerals are their own substance. Rocks are a combination of minerals. Rocks can be classified by how it forms. Some rocks form when melted rock or magma cools or hardens. This kind of rock is called igneous rock. Igneous rock can form deep inside Earth as magma cools slowly. It can also form on Earth's surface when a volcano erupts. Looking at an igneous rock can give you clues about where it's formed. We're going to look at how to compare the igneous rocks shown on these pages. Look back at that paragraph. What is an igneous rock and how does it form? Underline it. Did you say that an igneous rock forms when melted rock or magma cools and hardens? And they can form two ways. They can form deep inside the Earth when magma cools slowly, or it can form on Earth's surface when a volcano erupts. Look at these examples of igneous rocks. Pumice is a rock where it was cooled on the Earth's surface. Magma near the surface, called lava. The rocks form just underground or at the surface, and they don't have any time to form mineral crystals. If you've ever gone to the salon to get a pedicure, a pumice stone is what they use when they scrub the bottom of your foot. Granite tells us that magma closer to Earth's surface cools more quickly to form granite. Small mineral crystals have time to form. Granite is a rock used in many household items, like countertops. Pegmatite is a slower cooled igneous rock. It's formed deep underground and it has large crystals. And then they give us these two examples over here. Porphyry and obsidian. Can you tell which one cooled more quickly? How do you know? Take a guess. Write your answer. Did you say that the obsidian cooled more quickly? You can tell because it doesn't have any mineral crystals in it, as the porphyry does. Many people see the obsidian rock and think it's glass. It's just very shiny because it cooled so quickly. Now it's time to summarize. On your graphic organizer, you're going to fill out the section for igneous rock. We know that igneous rock forms when molten rock cools and hardens, that if it's cooled deep underground, it has large mineral crystals. If it's cooled closer to the surface, it has small mineral crystals. And if it cools on the surface, it may have no mineral crystals. Some examples of igneous rock are granite, obsidian, basalt, and pumice. Pause the video now and make sure to fill that section of your organizer out. Then continue playing for the other two types of rock. Now let's read about sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock is the rock that we find in Florida. Think about what would happen if you placed a flower under a book. Then you put more books on top of the first. The weight of the book flattens the flower. The same thing can happen to the deposited sediment. As layers of sediment are deposited, the bottom layers are pressed together by the weight of the layers above. Air and water in the spaces between the sediment are squeezed out. Over time, the sediments become cemented together and form rock. Sedimentary rock forms from the sediment that is cemented together. Sandstone, shale, and limestone are some sedimentary rocks. If any dead plants or animals were in the sediments, they may leave traces such as bone or shell that become fossils. Go back and underline how sedimentary rock forms. Did you say that sedimentary rock forms from the sediment that is cemented together? Remember that sediment is the bits and pieces of weathered rock. A key to identifying a sedimentary rock is a fossil. Any rock with a fossil in it would be a sedimentary rock. Limestone is what our Florida aquifer, where the water is trapped, is made out of. Looking at this diagram, we can see that the sediment is laid down in loose layers, and then there's more on top, puts weight, and over time, the additional layers of sediment and weight smash the bottom layers together and harden them into rock. Look at the diagram. Which layer of rock is the oldest? How do you know? Write your answer. Did you say that the bottom layer of rock is the oldest because it's buried the deepest? It's time to fill in your organizer. Now, look at the sedimentary rock section. We know that sedimentary rock is formed on the Earth's surface because it's from erosion and sediment layers built up onto each other until they stick together. Often in sedimentary rock, you can see the layers within the rock. Examples of sedimentary rock are limestone, sandstone, shale, and clay. And remember, limestone is the one that's most common in Florida. Let's read about the final type of rock, metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock is a rock that changed. Think about a butterfly for a minute. When a butterfly metamorphosizes, it turns from a caterpillar into a butterfly. A rock that is changed by heat and pressure deep in the earth is called metamorphic rock. Metamorphic comes from the Greek word meaning to change form. Metamorphic rocks are rocks that have changed from one form to another. Heat and pressure can change the way a rock looks and may even cause a rock's minerals to change into other minerals. Marble and quartzite are metamorphic rocks. Marble forms from limestone. Quartzite forms from sandstone. The changes to these rocks happen deep inside the earth. That's why most rocks you find are igneous or sedimentary rocks, not metamorphic rocks. So go back now and underline, what is a metamorphic rock? Did you underline that a rock that is changed by heat and pressure deep in the earth is called metamorphic rock? Can you find what causes these rocks to change? Metamorphic rocks change based on the heat and pressure that happens to them deep inside the earth. Here we can see some pictures. Shale is a sedimentary rock. Under heat and pressure, shale is flattened and it becomes slate. Over time, if that heat and pressure are increased, it will change again and become schist. Under intense pressure, the heat and pressure can separate those minerals into bands, and it can form new minerals as well, and that rock is called gneiss. So shale starts out as a sedimentary rock and can change into 3 different types of metamorphic rock based on the amount of heat and pressure that is added over time. Let's read. One place where you can find metamorphic rock is in a mountain range. Many mountains are formed when 2 large pieces of land move toward each other. The force that causes mountains to rise also causes the rocks in growing mountains to change. Pressure builds between the moving pieces of land. Rocks in the land may twist and be broken under pressure. Over time, many of them become metamorphic rocks. One more time. Let's fill out that last section on metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock forms when heat and pressure change rocks underground. You can find them in mountain ranges or underground. And some examples of metamorphic rock are marble, quartzite, schist, and slate. Pause the video and make sure you finish these notes before you move on. The next several pages in your book talk about how rocks are useful. I want you to read these pages to yourself, and on the back of your organizer, list 2 things that you use every day that are made out of rocks. And you cannot say a rock. We've reached the end of this lesson. You know now that rocks are classified by how they form. The 3 types of rock are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rock. And the rock cycle is a diagram that can show how each of these rocks change into another kind of rock. Look at those statements. Which one forms when sediments are cemented together? Which one forms when rocks are placed under great heat and pressure? Which one forms when magma or lava cools? Read all 9 sentences and place them on this graphic organizer. Pause the video, then play to check your work. All right, how'd you do? Now what? I want you to read in the Science Source book about the types of rocks. You'll find this information on page 164 and 165. Add information to your notes using a colored pencil. This will allow you to easily see which information came from which source, the Science Source book or the science textbook. And you guessed it, when you're done with that, it's time to write. You're going to write to explain how rocks are different. Be sure to use text evidence to support your thinking and cite your sources. Keep in mind that this is a complete essay, and you will have time over the next 3 days to work on it. Make sure to use the rubric from ELA to help guide you in writing this response. That is how it will be graded, and it will count for science and writing.